time has come, friends. The night is here. We're going to see The Lion King.
Woo!
Very, I guess, excited to see this, but I have very high hopes for this. Not high hopes, I should say, like high standards. Well, a bug just flew on the screen. But yeah, let's go in. All right, we are at the movies. It is time, finally, to see The Lion King. Going in with an open mind, but I'm pumped for it. You excited? You like our outfits? You got like a nice cheetah dress, and a Lion King shirt. We're ready. We are ready. We're gonna watch the movie, and then we'll let you know what we think afterwards.
Later that same evening.
Okay, so we're back from seeing The Lion King, and we have some thoughts. First off, I will say, and I think you'll agree with this, this is one of the most impressive movies we've ever seen. And by impressive, we mean like visually. Like this is an absolutely beautiful movie. Everything is so well done. It's very hard to believe that these aren't real animals.
Yeah,
and
the whole time I was like, how are these not real animals? It's like the technology is just so amazing. It's just visually a beautiful movie. Yeah,
and like everyone calls this like the live action movie. There were no animals used in the making of this movie, but like you would never know that.
Yeah.
Like, these look so real. Like every movement of their hair and everything was just amazing.
Yeah.
Really, really well done.
Like every single detail that was put into it was just amazing.
Yeah. So well, that is the biggest pro, I think, for this movie.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's tricky because like anytime you're gonna remake a classic like The Lion King, and in my opinion, Lion King is, first of all, Lion King is not only my favorite Disney movie, it's one of my favorite movies ever. Like it's so high on the list for me.
Yeah.
And anytime you're gonna come in and remake a classic, you have a lot to live up to. Like I said in the clip when we were walking into the movie theaters, like there was high standards for this movie.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people felt that way because The Lion King is so important to a lot of people and feel the same way that we do. There's going to be a lot of critical things that we have to say about it.
Right. And obviously Disney's gone down like this live action path over the past few years. It seems like instead of getting more like newer stuff, we're getting remakes of some of the older stuff, which is okay, I guess. And this movie for me really didn't feel necessary. This is a shot-for-shot remake of the 1994 film. So if you're someone that loves The Lion King as much as we do, and you just want to see pretty much exactly the same movie with no new spin on it at all, then you'll be okay with this, I think.
But I'm glad they did that because I feel like if they did change the story, a lot of people would be upset, including us. Like, it's such an iconic story and movie that if they did put their own spin on it and if they did change it, I think it would have upset a lot of people.
Yeah,
so in that sense, I'm glad they kept the story the same.
But if you're gonna remake a classic like The Lion King, and again, I don't think this movie needed to be remade, but give it something that's different. Like, give me something, a little bit that's different. I'm not saying change the story, because like you can't change the story. The story is what it is. But give me something that's like unique to this version of The Lion King. And they didn't do that, really. But yeah, so from that sense, it just didn't really feel necessary. That's my general reaction to a lot of these Disney live action movies. And I think this movie, for me personally, like, this put me right at the brink of, okay, we don't need to do this anymore. Like, there's no need to remake every single Disney movie into a live action that isn't going to be as good as the first one, because I can't think of a movie, maybe Mulan, because I know the trailer came out a while ago, but they showed the trailer for Mulan before this movie, and a lot of people were upset, like, oh, there's no Mushu, there's no songs in the movie, it's not a musical. But like, it looks good. Like, it looks like different. It looks like it's going to be its own unique thing. It looks fierce is kind of the word.
But like you were saying, I feel like a lot of people, including us, are getting sick of the live remakes. So I feel like, because like Matt said, a lot of them just aren't necessary. Like, leave it to the animated versions. Like, nothing is going to top the Disney classics that we're all used to and love.
The only one that I will say that is probably better than the animated classic was The Jungle Book.
Yeah,
and coming
a lot of
into this
people say
movie,
that.
I knew that at least they were going to do this movie right, but visually, because Jon Favreau did The Jungle Book and Jon Favreau did The Lion King, and I love Jon Favreau. He's a great director. So I wasn't, once I found out that he was making this movie, I said, okay, like, it's in good hands. But again, The Jungle Book, in my opinion, is a movie that is better. I like this version better than the cartoon.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it could also be because I haven't seen The Jungle Book. Like, I can't even tell you how long. Like, that's not like a Disney movie that I rewatch.
That like stands out, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is I think they really did a good job with the casting of this movie for The Lion King. After we left the movie theater, Matt and I were like, Timon and Pumbaa were awesome.
Steal the show.
Yeah. I was surprised at how well Billy Eichner can sing.
Yes.
He did an awesome job as Timon. And we were saying those were big shoes to fill because Nathan Lane was just amazing in the original role as Timon. But Billy Eichner really stepped up. He did awesome. And then, of course, Seth Rogen, who's like one of my absolute favorites. I love him. He did a great job as Pumbaa. They were such a good duo together.
And they had like their own fresh take on it.
Yeah.
So I will, you know what? I went back and said there was nothing unique about this movie. Like, they didn't do Timon and Pumbaa exactly the same. They gave him like some more like modern lines.
Yeah, they still kept some of the like original jokes, but then they also added their own spin on it, but in a really good way.
Yeah,
like, we enjoyed it.
It seems like, again, I don't know this for sure, but it seems like they improv a lot of the lines.
Yeah.
At least it came across that way, where they kind of just like, you know, let them play with the roles a little bit and kind of make it their own.
One thing that we did say after leaving the movie was we felt like Donald Glover, who was the voice of Simba, and Beyonce, who was the voice of Nala, they were just kind of like eh. And they're such huge stars, and like everybody knows them, that I was expecting something way more from them, and they were kind of just like, they're okay.
They were very, I guess for lack of a better word, like they seemed robotic to me.
Yeah.
It was very, like everything was the same tone no matter what. They just didn't really like have good chemistry really. And Simba and Nala like are known for their chemistry, and like I don't know, maybe I know that they didn't record a lot together.
I was just gonna say that they didn't record it all together because Donald Glover recorded the whole thing in Europe. Yeah,
when he was making Solo.
Yeah, so maybe that has to do with it. I
maybe,
don't know.
yeah. It just the two of them just seem very flat to me.
Yeah.
And speaking of flat, like my biggest bone to pick with this movie is like the emotion in the characters' faces. Now, a lot of people have been saying this, and I've seen other people's reviews and I've read some stuff before we went to go see it, but I said I'm gonna go in with an open mind and make the, you know, call for myself.
Yeah.
But everybody was right. Like, these characters, they can't emote well. And that's not a knock to like Favreau and like the team that made the movie. It's just when you're gonna make a movie so like accurate from like an animal perspective, because these were like, it felt like you were watching like a National Geographic thing. But if you're gonna make them be that real life, like real life lions, like they're not gonna show emotion in their face. Like they don't show happiness and sadness and grief and all that.
So I think that was one of the biggest downfalls of the movie, because we're so used to seeing the animated version where like when Mufasa dies, you see how distraught Simba was, and you can see the emotion in his face, and that wasn't what we got from this movie.
No.
Because you can't really see the emotion in the animals' faces.
The emotion in Simba's face when Mufasa died was the same for any other scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was, his face didn't change. Like, yeah, he yelled out no, but like there was nothing behind that. They just felt very like empty and like hollow, for lack of a better word. And
Matt did say you felt like Scar was the one character that did have some emotion in his face compared to the other ones. Compared to the other ones, I think Scar, for some reason, they were able to get him to emote a little bit better. Maybe because he was the villain, like, I don't know. But like, I felt like he showed it a little bit more in his face than some of the other characters did. The other ones were just very robotic. Yeah. But again, like, that's gonna happen when you put like real animals in there, even though they weren't real. But like an actual lion isn't gonna show you that. Yeah. So you have to like pick and choose what you want, you know. We were saying that the Scar in this live action movie compared to the animated, he was like extra mean and extra evil, and he
Yes.
really like did a good job at playing the bad guy. Whereas in the original movie, in the animated movie, he was obviously the bad guy, but he was more flamboyant. He played more of a flamboyant.
He was like flamboyant. He was more cunning. Like he was more of like a shady, sneaky villain. This guy's more like, I rule. I'm the king.
Yeah,
you know,
he was like real.
He was very loud and like mean and like, you know, showed anger much better than the other one did. I think this is worth going to see.
Yeah,
simply
definitely.
for the visuals alone. Like, if you can't take anything else away from this movie, like, just go see it because it is such a beautiful movie. This is a movie, amazing. We went to go see it in just like a regular theater, but this is probably a movie you should probably go see in like IMAX or something, because like, on a big screen like that, I can't imagine what that looks like, but it's definitely worth going to see for the visuals alone. Like, I still can't get over it. Like, every like blade of grass, every like splash of water, and nothing in this was real. Like, this was all created, and it's just it's amazing. Amazing. I've never seen anything like it. This is
it's crazy how advanced the technology is now, that they can make a movie of this nature. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. This is a groundbreaking movie. I have a feeling like this movie's gonna pave the path for other movies to come down the road, and you're gonna look back and say, like, even the Jungle Book too, like, you're gonna look back and say The Lion King and Jungle Book were like at the forefront of this like technology. You know, I don't know the specifics of it. Like, I don't know exactly how they did this, but like, it was just unbelievable, and definitely worth going to see just for the visuals alone.
Yeah.
If I had to give it a rating, I'd go probably 3 out of 5, like a 6 to 6.5 out of 10, which is, it's not high enough for The Lion King, let's be real. Lion King should be a 10 out of 10 at all times. It's one of the best movies ever.
Yeah, and we're saying that too because we feel like if we want to watch The Lion King, we're always going to resort back to the animated version. We're not going to go out and run and buy this new live action movie and sit down and like watch it a million times. Whereas like the animated, I've watched it how many times?
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
Yeah, so that's why we kind of feel that way. Once again, it's a beautiful movie. I would definitely say it's worth going to see.
Yeah. But
when you compare it to the animated version, it's hard to compare.
Yeah, it's gonna fall short.
Yeah.
It's just gonna fall short. At this point, it is what it is. We're in the, you know, I feel like we go through every era with Disney. Like, there's all these new eras. Like, they went through the direct to video, which is when like Lion King 2 came out, you know. All those movies, Return of Jafar, and all those came direct to video. And then we went through maybe, I want to say maybe 7, 8 years ago now, like Disney re-released everything in 3D. 3D was like the big thing, and now we're just living through the live action phase. I don't really know how I feel about it, because like a movie like this, I appreciate it for the way it was made. Like, the technology, I will say, like, amazing. But was it necessary to remake it like this? No, I just don't think so. I hate to say it, but I just don't think so. And like Alex said, if I'm gonna go back and watch The Lion King, I'm gonna go back and watch the original one every single time. I would never watch this version over the original. Let us know if you went to go see The Lion King and what you thought. Leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you think of all these Disney live action remakes that have been coming out, and there's plenty to come, that's for sure. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave it a nice big thumbs up. We appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. And we'll see you real soon. Bye.